Have you ever hit a golf shot that's gone nowhere near your intended target, even when it's felt great? Stick around because in this video I'm going to show you how mastering your club face control through changing your wrist angles can completely transform your game and your consistency. Now, what most golfers don't understand is the club face is the most important thing in the swing. Fundamentally, when the club makes contact with the ball, that's going to have the biggest influence on the golf shot. So although we can talk about so many other parts of the golf swing, how the body's moving, the pivot, the ground reaction forces, so on and so forth, the only thing that truly matters is the club face at impact with the ball. Now, the thing that has the biggest influence on that club face is naturally going to be the hands and fundamentally those wrists and how they're moving in space to control this club face. So for the purpose of this video, I've teamed up with Hackmotion Golf, the best technology on the market that looks at your wrist angles, gives you feedback on what's going on throughout your whole golf swing, and a really cool app that helps you change your wrist angles in the areas that are a weakness. So let's have a look at how we're going to use this today and improve ball striking, start line, and consistency of where the ball goes. Okay, so as you can see with Hackmotion, I'm going to use it for my left wrist, my lead wrist in this case. You can also use this on your trail wrist to get different angles and understand what's going on. We're going to look at the lead wrist today. So all I'm going to do is just show you how it simply can be calibrated. It takes no more than 20 seconds. So very simple. I'm just going to get my wrist in position, slowly move it. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to hit 5 golf shots, in this case with my 8-iron. I'm struggling with compressing the ball, so I want to see what's going on at impact and then get some data. I've got no glove on for this case, but you can use a glove at the same time. Okay, so I've hit my 5 golf shots. They were all actually really well hit, which is interesting. And then it gives an overview of your swing breakdown. So as you can see in my case here, that it's suggesting that the takeaway is a little bit of an issue, getting a little bit too much inside and underneath me, which I know is happening. And the top of the swing is in red, which is the main issue. And it's suggesting that my left wrist, my lead wrist, is in too flexed a position. So essentially like this. Think John Rahm, too flexed, too much across the line is a good way of thinking about it, which is something I do know I naturally revert to. So I'm going to show you how we can use the Hackmotion to train this and get some real-time feedback on how to get into a better position without getting too bogged down with technical thought. If you're liking the idea of Hackmotion and you think it will benefit your game like it already is doing for myself, you can purchase it directly through here. There's full details of how to purchase in the description below with a discount code to get going. We're going to use the app to gain some real-time biofeedback. So if I was to put my wrist into flexion, we can hear at a certain point the app starts singing at me and also my wrist sensor is vibrating. So this is telling me that I'm in the optimal amount of wrist flexion or wrist extension, however we want to look at it. Now, if I go to the top of my backswing, just normal, you can see how currently it's singing to me. So it's liking the position I'm in. Whereas if I kind of try and change that wrist angle, now I've gone into excessive extension, it's now in the red and has stopped singing, and vice versa. If I go into too much flexion, which is what I get to at the top, so essentially this position, I'm turning up. As I'm from here, I'm almost going to there, I'm laid off, okay, and then the club, as I bring my arms down, is going to naturally steepen. So I need to now just feel, can I get the club working a little bit more up, a little bit more vertical, and naturally this left wrist is in a little bit more extension. So the club, as you can see, is working more across the line for me. So I would just rehearse. Okay, that keeps singing, so I know I'm in a good position. And I'm just feeling that back and forth. Now I'm going to hit some shots, and I'm just going to do this in slow motion. So all I'm going to think about is that same thing. So I'm going to stand over the ball. I'm going to slowly go to the top. Okay, that's a good feel. I know I'm in position. Now I'm going to do that in slow motion. Okay, so straight away you can see that at the top of the swing, I'm now in the green. So I've basically got my lead wrist into more of an extension or less of flexion, however you want to look at it. Now we know how that works. We're going to keep using that wrist sensor to keep the vibration there. And all I'm going to focus on is just that same rehearsal in slow motion to see if I can feel that movement. Now, weirdly, for me, that feels horrible because of where I've been used to, but I'm in the green again. So even if it's horrible, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. And I'm not thinking about this takeaway at all, even though it highlighted that I was getting a little bit under here. But if we think about this logically, if I get under here and then turn up from there, I'm probably already going to be a little bit flatter, a little bit more laid off, and a little bit more inflection. Whereas if I just focus on trying to get the club more up here, notice how my takeaway naturally gets a little bit more vertical. The traditional sense of the club hinges up a bit earlier. So you can see how that completely changes that backswing motion. Now, even after 2 or 3 shots, I'm consistently getting in the green, and what already feels better for me is I feel like I can feel the club shallow in a bit more in transition. And again, if you're a player who gets a bit laid off and stuck, as we bring the arms down, notice how the club is going to steepen, whereas if I'm a bit here, more across the line principally, and I bring the arms down, notice how the club's going to be more shallow. So it should, in theory, that lead wrist angle at the top of the swing is going to have a huge influence on what happens at impact. So now I'm going to do the same motion, but I'm going to go a bit quicker, so a bit closer to my normal speed. That felt really good, and again, I'm in the green. So for me, this is something I've actually worked on in the past, getting to the top of my backswing more across the line is the phrase I'm using, more extended. And it's something I've really struggled with in practice because I've never had any feedback other than if I'm looking in a mirror behind me, I'm almost consciously, right, where's that club? I'm out of posture, then I'm in. So it's very difficult for me to actually know if I'm doing it correctly without being so aware. Whereas obviously the Hackmotion is brilliant because it's just giving me that feedback throughout the swing. And then at impact, after I've hit the shot, it's telling me whether I achieved it or not. And again, I'm in the green. So this is such a brilliant tool for something so simple and yet so important with that club face. And what I've noticed, even though the first 5 when I measured was pretty good in terms of strike and consistency, I feel like already my ability to control the club face through the impact is much simpler. Now I'm going to go a little bit faster at this. What I've been struggling with of late is when I'm swinging at full speed and trying to hit the ball harder, something I feel comfortable doing is I'm losing my strike. And then when I've tried to slow it down and almost try and control the strike and the face a bit more, I've actually then lost my direction. So this makes a lot of sense because where the club's move in transition has been too inconsistent. So if I do this in slow motion now, this straight away should feel easier. So even that wasn't particularly great, but I could feel where the club face was for the first time in a long time. Now if I do it at full speed or a little bit harder, that's as good as I can hit the ball, and I'm still in the green. And I'm starting to get some real speed and compression, 175 yards of carry with my 8-iron. So I'm back up to where I'd expect to be, just with that really simple feedback. And what you as amateur golfers are likely to end up doing when you're struggling to control the club face at impact is to start reacting by changing your body position to try and create space, or trying to work the club differently with hands and arms in a way that feels right, but often is actually making the problem worse. If you found this video useful and you want to get a Hackmotion to use for yourself, you can purchase directly from here. At checkout, use the code SVGP for 5% off and get started by changing those wrist angles today.